Baruchim Habayim. We have our weekly Mishlei class, the wisdom of Shlomo HaMelech Alav Shalom. So we are holding by first parak, first chapter, Pasuk Vav. Pasuk Vav, Shlomo HaMelech tells us, Lehavin mashal umelitza divrei chachamim vechidotam. Lehavin mashal umelitza divrei chachamim vechidotam. We saw before that, the book is called Mishlei Proverbs, because one of the best ways to teach, it's using mishalim, using stories, using parables, etc. It's one of the most effective ways of teaching anything, especially when it comes to wisdom, to musar. The Gaon says, what is mashal and what's melitza? Gaon says the mashal is the parable. The melitza is the nimshal. It's what you learn in reality from that parable. Right? There's mashal and nimshal. So one it's mashal, one it's melitza. And the Gaon tells us, right, that, as we said, one of the best ways to teach, it's using, from my experience of, I don't know how many years I've been teaching, whenever you have a good story to tell, everybody's listening. Everybody's listening. And whenever I want to speak, at first I want to make sure whether it's for kids in school or for adults. Tomorrow night I have to speak in Wilbur. I'm very nervous. It's a very huge crowd and it's a very difficult occasion. A young lady that used to come to my classes passed by. She was a malach. What was her name? Kirendian. Revital. Yeah. She was an unbelievable individual. And you see, I've been davening. What to say? It's not, it's to speak. It's not. If you want, and you have to daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But you see, it's in the message you want to give, right? Shlomo HaMelech tells you, it's to use parables, to use mashalim. So that's why he says what? He says, lehavin mashal, you understand, right, the teachings through a mashal and melitza. For instance, Gaon brings, we know the famous story, actually I said this story when I had to speak at Eden. It was packed, probably there were like 500 people, inside, outside. How could he understand? How could he understand such a tragedy? Such a young mother with a 2-year-old, 3 kids, the youngest 2 years old. And as I said, I knew her through my classes. She used to come to my classes. I did the wedding. So I told them when we were up there, we say in Tisha B'Av, one of these kinot that we say, it's about Asara Harugei Malchut. Right, Asara Harugei Malchut, the 10 sages of Israel that were brutally murdered by the enemy. And the Mekubalim say that they were the Gilgul. They were the Gilgul of Aseret HaShvatim. Right? They were the Gilgul of Aseret HaShvatim. Right. I'm bringing you a story in a story. I just saw a beautiful Meshach Chochmah about Kibud Avaim. Right? What has to do with the Shvatim. It says, in the parasha we learned that, the Kohen Gadol had the 12 tribes, right, on his breastplate, and each tribe had a gem. Right? Each tribe had the gem of Binyamin was Yashefeh. That's a type of kind of gem, sapphire maybe, I don't know. So the Gemara says that at one point this gem got lost. They didn't have it.
What is
gem? Gem? Zargari Mati? That was not a Zargari Mati, but that was a Shvatim. So one of them, Yashefeh, each one of them was parallel to one Shevet. So Yashefeh was the stone of Binyamin. And at one point it was lost. it was lost, and they were looking all over. They couldn't find it.
When?
At the time of Beit HaMikdash. They couldn't find, and nobody, they couldn't find it. Finally, they came to the city of Ashkelon. Then there was a goy by the name of Dama ben Netina, that he was the only one that owned this stone, this gem that they needed for the Choshen. So they went they said, the bundle of money from Beit HaMikdash to come to buy it. He came and he said, I'm sorry, I cannot sell it to you. He said, why? He said, because the key to the safe where I keep the gem, these stones, it's under my father's pillow. He doesn't trust anybody. And I'm not going to wake him up. Wow. The Gemara says, we learn Kibud Avayim from Dama ben Netina, from this goy. So Meshech Chochmah says, how come it had to be the gem of Binyamin, Yashefet, that was lost out of all the 12? He says because Binyamin was the only Shevet out of the 12 tribes. Binyamin was the only Shevet that he did Kibud Avayim the most. How? How is that? Because the 10 tribes, they caused all the pain to Yaakov Avinu by selling Yosef. Right? So they were not the epitome of Kibud Avayim, obviously. And Yosef himself also was, right? Yosef also was what? Yosef, all these years that he was in Mitzrayim, he had his reasons, but the bottom line is he didn't communicate with his father that he's alive, etc. So he didn't do Kibud Avayim either. The only one that did was who? Binyamin. So it's interesting that the gem that was lost is connected to this Dama ben Netina in Ashkelon, the goy that his thing was Kibud Avayim. And then Meshech Chochmah says, because of the mitzvah of Kibud Avayim that Binyamin did, he said like Kibud Avayim equals all the mitzvot of the Torah. Because of that, he was Zocheh that the Beit HaMikdash was built in his portion. The entire Beit HaMikdash was in the portion of Binyamin, except there was a strip that belonged to Yehuda. It's amazing, This is what I'm going to tell the kids in my assembly this week, talking about Kibud Avayim. Right? You see, what is Kibud Avayim equals all the mitzvot of the Torah. Because of that, Binyamin got to have the Beit HaMikdash in his portion. But you see, the 10 tribes, they were really, because of what they did, ultimately their kapara came and they came in Gilgul in Asara Harugei Malchut. Asara Harugei, but the Gilgul Shara Gilgulim says, now, it says when they were killing Rabbi Akiva, combing his body with these metal combs. And so the Malachim and Shamayim, this is all the Gaon, to tell you that the power of Mashal and Melitza. So Gaon says that the Malachim in Shamayim, when Rabbi Akiva, we know that he was obviously was going through hell of pain, but he gave his neshama with Shema, right? So the Malachim in Shamayim, they were crying to Hashem, Zo Torah v'zo schara. Is this the reward for Torah? That he should suffer like this? So it says a heavenly voice told the Malachim, be quiet. If you don't keep quiet, I'm going to take the world back to the time that it was at the beginning of Maaseh Bereshit, when water was covering the entire world. So everybody asks, what kind of answer is that? They're asking Hashem, where is the justice? Hashem is saying, if you don't keep quiet, I'm going to take the world back to the very beginning, to the Genesis, to the beginning of beginning of creation. So the Gaon says, to understand this is a very deep and fundamental, philosophical question. How could it be a merciful God do such a thing? So the Gaon gives his famous parable, Mashal and Melitza. The Mashal, he says that, that there was this king that needed to be, was planning to his coronation, to be crowned. And for the ceremony, he wanted to create the best of the best. So he went and he found the most expensive, exquisite, fabric you could imagine. I don't know from where, imported, whatever, right? Very expensive fabric. And he got the best of the tailors that happened to be a Jewish tailor, Schindler. Right? No, is it Schindler? I think it's a, there's an Ashkenazi name that it's... no, I don't know, but it's not Schindler. It's something like that in Yiddish. It means a tailor. Anyway, so he called this tailor to his palace. He gave him all the fabrics, whatever he needed, and he said, I want you by, a week, 2 weeks, whatever, before the coronation to have it ready. And he starts working and working and working, and even ahead of time, he creates a garment that, when the king sees it, wow, it was really something that he had in mind, beautiful, right? He gives him a big tip also. Then after the ceremony, after the coronation, some jealous people from the palace that couldn't see how much the king likes this Jewish guy, they started right. She began شوتکش کردن. They told him what? He did a beautiful job, but where is you gave him so much fabric. Where is the rest? every yard of this fabric is worth so much money. This guy, the Jew, he stole the remnants. This can't be the whole thing, right? So the king said, no, yeah, Finally, he called in the Jewish tailor, and he told him, look, you did a great job, but where is the remnants? He said, Your Majesty, there is no remnants. I used every inch of that fabric. It's in this garment you're wearing. Right? He says, no, it can't be. Arguing back and forth. Finally, the tailor tells the God, Your Majesty, the only way for me to prove it to you, see, you understand, this garment has a lot of pleats in it. And these pleats, it's there. It's there. Everything is there. The only way, if you don't believe me, the only way to prove it to you that nothing is missing, give me back the garment. I'm going to open it up. And you're going to see everything is there, nothing is missing. So Gaon says, this is also the story with HaKadosh Baruch Hu with the Malachim. Hashem is telling Malachim, look, if you don't stop, scorning me and criticizing, the only way for me to prove it to you that, there is justice here, and nothing is missing, it's to take you back to the beginning of Bereshit, and you'll see every generation, and you'll see that these 10 Shvatim are the Gilgul, right? These 10 Asarar Gia Malchut are really, right? They are the Gilgul of the 10 Shvatim, and there is justice there, nothing, everything is perfect, right? That's the only way I could really prove it to you, right? So this is, you see, beautiful mashal. So the mashal is what? The mashal and melitza that Shlomo Melech talks about. Lehavin, he says, Lehavin mashalu melitza, this is it. The mashal and melitza, the mashal is the story I told you. The melitza is the interpretation. That the message that it gives. That really Hashem's justice is 100%. But for you to understand, for us to understand it, Hashem has to open it up the whole thing. Then we'll see that nothing is missing. That's what Gaon Uzenu, Gaon explains this. Lahavin, Mashal and Melitza also, Gaon tells us this Mashal and Melitza is talking about Torah Shebichtav and Torah Sheba'al Peh. That Torah Shebichtav, it's a Mashal. Torah Sheba'al Peh is a Nimshal. And my favorite piece would be the Zohar HaKadosh, right, in Bereshit. Right, Bereshit, the Torah tells us a story. Right, the Torah told us that Avraham Avinu, that Hashem says to Avraham Avinu, Lech lecha ma'artzecha u'medatecha la'aretz asher areka, on. So the Zohar Kadosh says that whoever takes the stories of the Chumash as bedside stories for babies, stories, something very nasty. The Zohar says. So you have to understand the depth of it, right? The Torah is the only sefer in the entire universe that you have little kids could enjoy it, right? Little kids could enjoy the stories of the Torah and to learn from it, and you could have Rav Shach over 100 years old that has learned the entire Torah Kula, and he finds pleasure in every word of the same Torah, the same Chumash, that the kids in kindergarten learn the stories, right? But they just read the stories, but there's depth to it. So the Zohar says, whoever thinks that Torah tells us stories, tavu alav, something not good, right? So you have to realize that these stories, they have depth. When the Torah tells Avraham Avinu, Lech lecha ma'aretzecha u'molatecha, the Zohar Kadosh says, Avraham is the neshama of each and every one of us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells our neshama, Lech lecha ma'aretzecha u'molatecha. Right? Right? He says, Hashem's telling neshama to each and every one of us. Right? Hashem, it says to our neshama, Lech lecha. Up there in Shamayim, there is no room for you. Because here you're not going to get Olam Haba. Right? You have to go down. You have to go down to the earth. Right? You have to go here, right here, and go through Avraham Avinu. Like Avraham Avinu, through all the tests of life. And then, right, it's a long, I don't want to take the time again. A lot of you have heard it over and over from me, right? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends the neshama comes here, and then, he marries Sarah. Sarah is the guf. The neshama comes to the guf, and they live together. And then finally, when the time comes to go, so Sarah dies in Kiryat Arba, Hebron, Beretz Canaan. According to Pshat, Gemara tells you, the Torah is telling you that story, but the Zohar says no. Kiryat Arba is this world that our body is Kiryat Arba, has four basics, ingredients in our body. You have you have earth, you have dirt, you have water, you have fire and air. Right? This is Kiryat Arba. Hebron is Milashon Chibur. Chibur is what? Connection. That the neshama and guf are connected here. Eretz Canaan, the Zohar HaKadosh calls this world, earth, Eretz Canaan. Why Canaan? Canaani, it's like a businessman, socher. The same way that good businessman goes from here to China and picks the whatever is good for here and imports. We come to this world for the same purpose. We come to this world in order, to see Shiva Darda Unja Mechore. China to take whatever it is we could import there and make money. So this is what Shlomo HaMelech is telling us. להבין משל ומליצה דברי חכמים וחידותם. דברי חכמים וחידותם. So what is that? Gaon says, דברי חכמים is מדרשי חז"ל. Right? And Malbim says, when we learn Mishlei in depth, we are going to understand the Agadta of the Gemara. The Gemara, whoever is familiar, with learnings of the teachers of the Gemara, it's a combination. Gemara, it's a beautiful fabric of halachot and depth. There are halachic discussions. And then after you go to sigyot, deep and your mind can't grasp it anymore. All of a sudden you have some agatta. The agattas are the musar and the stories in the Gemara. And it's woven in like a very beautiful fabric. It's beautiful. Right? So now some of the agadatot, some of the agadic parts of the Gemara are very strange. Some of them are very sweet, understandable. Some of them are very, very strange. And we have to realize that whatever is strange and we cannot understand, we have to know that the message that is coded there, b'derech chida, that's what Shlomo HaMelech says. He says what? Right? Divrei chachamim v'chidotam. He says, I'm going to give you the tools to understand Divrei Chachamim v'chidotam, the Ma'amarei Chazal, the Agadita that it's in the Gemara. And you have to realize, whenever you study the Talmud, any time that you have Agadita that is very complex, and it doesn't make any sense to you, you have to realize that the message that is coded there, it's much deeper. It's like, you want to smuggle something in the customs, you put some dirty laundry and stuff on top of it. Now, go already, right? People that are superficial are going to just, skip it, But then it's the code is going to be understood only for people that it was meant that they should understand. I want to give you just, one short example. What? Now we are by Chidot. See, Mashal, right, it was a Mashal, but now, specifically, Gaon says that when in the Divrei Chachamim v'Chidotam, it's talking about the Agadata of the Gemara. And we have to remember, whenever you study the Gemara and you come across an Agadata that doesn't make any sense to you, you should be humbled. You should understand that there is a coded message there. That they didn't want just anybody that, you have to toil in it. An example of that would be, with the interpretation, there is I think it's about Rabbi Yehoshua. Rabbi Yehoshua, he knew how to have debates with all the heretics and all the agnostics, etc., etc. So once he had this discussion with Chachmei Atuna, with the sages, with the wise men of Athens, the Greek. It's very extensive, but one piece of it is that the Chachmei Atuna told, you have heard this midrash. They told him, look, everybody knows that salt is a preservative. Everyone knows that. Salt, whenever you want to preserve something, you salt it. Salt is preservative, right? So, what should we do if we see that salt is going bad? اگه ببینن نمک داره هرچه نخواهد چه میگن؟ هرچه بگنده نمکش میزنیم. هرچی میخوایم نگنده نمکش میزنیم. حالا اگه نمک داره میگنده چیکار کنیم؟ They asked him. So Rabbi Yehoshua told them, wow, you have a very good question. You know what you should do? You should take the afterbirth of a mule, پشت قاطر, you mix it with the salt, and then it's not going to decay. They told him, but a mule doesn't have an afterbirth. Right? That's not قاطر که بچه نمیاره. This is your answer. So what's going on? What's going on here? So this is, you might, you just read it and say, just, fast forward. What are you talking about? So this is what the Gaon says. Divrei Chachamim v'chidotam. What is the chidah? So the Mepharshim explain beautifully. They say that the sages of Athens are telling Rabbi Yehoshua, we acknowledge that your Torah, right, Judaism, brought humanity this far. That if there is any civilization, it's because of the Ten Commandments of your Torah, etc., etc. But now, in their generation, they are saying, already there is the Greek philosophy. This is the salt. In other words, you Jews and your Torah were the salt of civilization. You preserved civilization till now. But now this salt is decaying. It's going bad. It's time to make changes. So Rabbi Yehoshua tells them, right, so you wanna make changes in the Torah? It's also, you could talk the same thing to the Reform and the Conservative. It's so poignant. You want to make changes in the Torah? If you make changes in the Torah, you're going to create, in the short run, a mule. A mule is a very strong animal. A mule is stronger than a donkey or a horse. Right? Mule is very strong, stronger than a horse or a donkey. But the problem with mule is there is no continuity. Mule cannot have children. Everybody knows that. So this is what Rabbi Yehoshua says. You Reform, Conservative, or Greek, you want to make changes in the Torah? If you make the changes, then you're going to fill up Sinai Temple, etc., etc. Short run. Only in short run. But there is no continuity. It's not going to continue. It's just going to, and we see it in America. Right? It only fills up the temples, etc., in the short run. In the long run, there is no continuity. They built Sinai Temple for the new Khomeini is going to come to power in Iran, or the Persian Jews are going to Los Angeles. For whom did they build it? If the Persians won't go there, there's nobody there. During the week, they say there's nobody there. This is true about all the other temples also. All the other temples. I was reading, there was a convention they had in Las Vegas, one after the other. All these reform rabbis, conservative rabbis get up and say, I don't know what to do. I have a temple with 1,800 seats. Every Shabbat we don't have even 50. Maybe Rosh Hashanah, Kippur, we fill it up. That's it. Even that maybe. This is exactly the discussion in the Gemara. It's a chidah. It's a chidah. You want to change the recipe of salt? If you do that, in the short run, you're going to create a mule. You're going to fill up. But there is no continuity. It doesn't, it's guaranteed. Unfortunately, there is no continuity. So as we said, Shlomo Melech is teaching us that learning Mishlei, the depth of Mishlei, among other things, is going to help us understand the chidot of the Gemara, of the Talmud, the agadatas that are seem very strange. The more strange an agata, also Ramchal brings it. So the deeper is the message that is coded there. But you have to toil to get to the messages. If you don't toil on it, it doesn't stay for you. But when you take a piece of Gemara and you analyze and you work on it hard, that's why Talmud is so fascinating. Right? I have Daf Yomi every morning, Baruch Hashem, 5:30, when people come to come to learn Gemara, because of the depth that it provides, and you have to work on it hard. Right? If there is no pain, there is no gain.
Right.
Yeah.
So Shlomo HaMelech knew that we're going to have the Talmud? This is before the Talmud, right?
Shlomo HaMelech, but see, the Talmud was there from the beginning. The Talmud was written.
And those, not these talks, not these short little life
No, definitely, sure. See, you have to see, the Gemara, it was Torah Sheba'al Peh was written. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Moshe Rabbeinu the Torah, the written Torah, with every pasuk of Torah Shebichtav, he gave him the corresponding Torah Sheba'al Peh with it. But he said, this is what you write, and the rest should be oral. That's why it's called Torah Sheba'al Peh. So sure, even Adam HaRishon knew the whole Zohar and Gemara and everything.
Right, but I understand. But like the Gemara part, there's a lot of the discussion, there's the argument, and then like this story you just told me.
Right.
That's what Shlomo HaMelech says, this is what you want to learn.
Fine. See, in what form Shlomo HaMelech knew it, we don't know. But you see, the wisdom, the wisdom was there. Right? Obviously, there are certain things that are told in the Talmud, that it's stories that happened after Shlomo HaMelech. But the core of Torah Sheba'al Peh, was known. He knew it, and it was just oral. They didn't write it down till Rav Oshi and Rav Kana, they came and they wrote the Talmud over almost 1,600 years ago. Shlomo HaMelech is much before, right? Fine. Till Pasuk Zayin Gaon says is the introduction to Mishlei. Now that we are introduced, we go to we'll do one more Pasuk, and this is the beginning. Shma beni musar avicha, Yirat Hashem reshit da'at. Chochma u'musar evilim baz. Right. Shlomo HaMelech tells us, Yirat Hashem, fear of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yirat Hashem, it's reshit da'at. Beginning of everything, that the foundation of any intellect, any wisdom, any learning has to be Yirat Hashem. If a person doesn't, this is the foundation of thinking anybody could think that to himself. Is there, right? What is Yirat Hashem? Yirat Hashem is basically, right? Yirat Hashem equals Emunah Baboreh, right? Malbim says Yirat Hashem is Emunah, belief in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That is the foundation of everything, of any studying and any learning. And you see, a person that has to think for himself. Is it possible? We spoke about it last week, I think. 36 trillion cells in are in a fetus in the mother's womb. A fetus, like few months old fetus in the mother's womb has 36, not million, not billion, but trillion cells. Cells are totally identical. So I was telling Dr. Ellis, it's 36, it's 18 and 18. 18 from the mother, from the egg, and 18 from the father, from the sperm. Right? 18 and 18, 36 trillion cells. And these are all identical. But already in these cells, it's who did it, we don't know. Obviously we do know. Somebody programmed in it that these cells, which cell is going to become an eye, which cell is going to become the tongue, which cell is going to be the tooth, and where it's going to grow, and the tooth should not grow in your middle of your head, and everything is programmed in those cells.
Well, it's Big Bang.
Well, it's Big Bang, right? You see, it's you have to realize. David HaMelech says in Tehillim, Adam bikar velo yavin nimshal, kabehemot nidbu. David HaMelech says if a person doesn't grasp the yakar, just to look at his body and see all these miracles, if a person doesn't grasp it, the reason is because he's a nimshal. He's nimshal by his yetzer hara. He doesn't want to accept it. He wants to go after his evil inclinations. He doesn't want to follow, he doesn't want to accept. If there is divinity, right? This is the story that I always say, this guy was two people on the train. One asks the guy in the train, says, what time is it, sir? He doesn't answer it. He says, sir, excuse me, could you just tell me what time is it? He doesn't answer it. He says, it's not going to cost you anything. Just tell me what time is it. He said, look, I know exactly where you're living at. First, you want to start the conversation, what time is it? And then you're going to ask me, do you have a family, you have a boy? And I have a daughter. So you want to come Zargari for my daughter? I don't want to give you my daughter. So why should I start? Why should I start the conversation? Why should I start the conversation? Here's the same thing. You see, if a person doesn't want to, people don't want to believe. It's such a, how is it possible that this is Big Bang? Or how is it possible? 36 trillion cells. Who programmed it in such a way that this cell is going to become this? But people don't want to start the dialogue, because if they accept there's a creator, so then it follows that this creator had a purpose in creating me. And it follows that he has to somehow communicate that to me through the Torah. I don't want to do the Torah. I don't want 630. You know what? I don't start the conversation. I don't tell you what time is it. That's the way it is. Right? So you see, the foundation of everything, Shlomo HaMelech says, it's Yirat Hashem Reshit Da'at. Right? Reshit Da'at. And then the opposite of that is what? Chokhmah u'musar evilim bazu. Evil, I saw the Malbim bring, somebody says, Malbim says, Evil, it's the letters of Ulai. Ulai is doubt. The Evilim say, no, who says? Maybe it's this, maybe that. Who said, well, Kasi Olam Haba, right? This is Evil. Evil sheds doubt in everything. Right? You see, we do it in Gemara. When we learn Gemara, we don't take anything for granted, but we start with Yirat Shamayim. We know Torah is God-given, so we have to figure it out. What's the source? Where does it come from? It has to somehow, everything in Torah Shabbat has to be connected to Torah Shabbat. Where do you get it from? Right? But this is different than this. Evil, he sheds doubts. Evil is the letters of Ulai, maybe, Safek. So, you see, the foundation of everything, it's that strong emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A person wants to go into sciences, first he has to have Yirat Shamayim. And then, Tavala Baracha, he should go. He should go to, But you see, if the Yirat Shamayim is not there, if a person doesn't have emunah, and if in emunah of a person, if the emunah has the slightest cracks, whatever you're going to build, it's going to collapse. Right? This is the foundation of everything, right? Yirat Hashem Reshit. Reshit is Payas. This is the foundation of everything. And Meiri says a beautiful thing. Meiri, and this pasuk says, right? He says, Yirat Hashem Reshit Da'at Chochma u'Musar Evilim Bazu. People that are evil, people that ulai and they make fun of everything, maskhare mikonan hame chizay emuna minara. Ina chokhma u musar, they put it down. Levazot means khar kardan, putting down. So Meiri says, kasi ke dastash be gush nemirise mige bu mide. Or sour grapes in English, right? Sour grapes is like the same message. He says, because to come to that emuna and chokhma and musar, you have to work hard. People that are lazy, that they want to delve, they don't want to delve in cheshbono shel olam. So what they do, yam bu mide. Bazu, they put it down. They put it down, mullah bazi, not shia, falan shia, right? This is, Meiri says, Mamash, he says, evilim bazim lechokhma musar. So, but we have to realize that this chokhma and musar, right, you have to work on it. A person needs, we say, mi kelokenu, en kelokenu, right? First we say, en kelokenu, there is no God like our God, we have the true emunah. Then we go around and investigate. A person should. Is it really? Is it really that any alternative philosophy to creation, etc., that really should make sense, right? So this takes, you don't want to, as we learned last week, this happens. Coming to emunah happens daily studying and internalizing. That's why we said tachbulot yikne. Tachbulot we said midashon chevel. Chevel is a rope. And you remember we learned last week a chevel, a rope, is made of little strings that you tie, you spin it together, and that chevel is created. So basically, Yirat Hashem Reshit Da'at, right? That we are going to the Mishalim to sum it up, because I have to go this week. I have to go earlier. Right, to sum it up, we have, we have to realize that this medium of Mishlei, Mishalim and Chidot, we have to realize a lot of things that we're going to learn in Mishlei, it's going to be like this. It's Mishalim, that we have to figure out ourselves the Nimshal. Right? The Mashal has at face value also it's cute. Right? Like this thing with the salt and this, but the main thing is to delve to get to the Nimshal, right? What is the message that is going to come out of this? And we also learned that before anything, before studying anything a person needs, Yirat Hashem Reshit Da. We have that Yirat Hashem, it's a must. That's why it's so important that a person that before he really has studied the Torah and has Yad Shamayim, not to go to other studies, right? And this is unfortunately happens to a lot of young Jewish minds that don't know anything about the Torah, and they go to college campuses, etc., and it's too late, right? It would be much more difficult at that stage to bring them back. But it's definitely legit. People like Rambam, after he masters the entire Torah, yes, to go into other sciences as well.